Hey, this is George from Upfish, your marketing automation expert, and in today's video I'm going to show you the top 10 automations you should be using, either starting out as a solopreneur. So this is a collection of sales and marketing automations which are specifically designed for solopreneurs, in that it will help them get high quality leads and sales and also start marketing themselves better as an authority in their niche. As I say, this is probably not appropriate for SaaS companies or agencies or anybody who's already well established, because these are designed specifically for solopreneurs. So this takes into account the fact that as a solopreneur, you probably have a lack of time, a lack of money, and a lack of experience. So specifically with the lack of time, if you've already got another job or other obligations, you don't want to be spending 8 hours a day on sales and marketing stuff. This is designed to reduce everything to just a quick 10-minute run through in the morning every day, just making customized edits and changes and optimizations to the content generated. In terms of lack of resources, again, if you're just getting started, you don't know if you're going to be successful enough to justify spending like 600, 700, 800 euros a month on all of these tools and all of these operations. So this has been carefully curated to just run off of a few select tools, probably cost you about 130 euros a month. So it makes it a lot easier for you to figure out if you want to continue. And also it takes into account a lack of experience, by which I mean, if you're just starting as a solopreneur, it's going to be hard for you to convince people, hey, work with me, buy my product, buy my service, I'm an expert. You need to build up that kind of trust in the market, and so some of these automations specifically address that. Also, importantly, all of these automations run from a single Airtable. So if you've watched my video before, you've probably already seen a lot of these automations. When I make them, I make random Airtables. This is now all condensed into one single Airtable. So there's one place to look at every morning, make some changes, and then you're good to go. But this is all boring stuff. If you like the boring stuff, check out my school where I have all of these already prepared, all of the JSONs, all of the Airtables, walkthroughs, all of this stuff. But if you just want to jump straight into it, let's have a look. So the first one that we'll be looking at is a LinkedIn poster. So what this will do is every day it will take information from a LinkedIn page like this, where I'm sure you've all seen these AI generated articles, but the advantage for us is we can then put into our Google search, we want specific pages to do with marketing automation. So for example, this one. Then I get a topic idea. I already get some interesting perspectives around that topic idea. So it's pretty easy for me to then say to a GPT or an assistant, this is my opinions, this is what I do. Please create me a draft copy for me to then copy and edit and put into LinkedIn. So this is how it works. Okay, so the idea behind this one is you'll run it on a semi-regular basis, maybe a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday. So on days when you don't have original content or something interesting of your own to post, you still have something which is going to go out there. What's going to happen is our Airtable makes a call to our social inputs on our solopreneur base, and it's basically just going to look for that Google link. Once it has the Google link, it does basically a HTTP call to get all of the various LinkedIn links from that Google search. And then it will analyze the page of that search. So for example, here, it's looking at this particular page. Right. So now what I'm going to be doing once I have this is I'm going to be taking this information to GPT and I'm going to say, hey, there is a topic I'd like to talk about, depending on automation for marketing success, what are the potential drawbacks? I already have some possible context that I can add to this question regarding risk management or continuous monitoring to try and make it more interesting. So basically this is grabbing that information. So the first one here, just HTTP calls and parsers to try and get all of that. And then it's basically either going to create a short text post, an image post, a carousel post, or a long form text post. Now I want this to happen at random. So we have a tool here that just collects a random number, and then based on the number it generates, in this case 2, it will trigger one of these filters. So this filter here is when it equals to 0, this is 1, and this is 2. So you see here, it's then generated a carousel post for me. If I run it again, it will pick another random number, hopefully, and it will put down a different piece of content. So here it's created an image post. And basically what happens is this. It goes into ChatGPT and we ask it, we say, here is the context from the web page. This is what I do. So for example, my name is George, I'm a marketing automation expert. I want to talk to solopreneurs. These are my possible pain points or solutions. This is the angle I want to address them at. So the prompting here is really important. But then it comes out with a social media post. In the case of the image, it also generates an overlay for my image template and also creates a DALL-E prompt for me to generate an image. So we see here, it's created a little prompt for me, or create an image, goes into Creatormate, and then it's going to generate an image for me to put into Airtable. In the case of the carousel posts, again, It goes into a prompt just to say, I have a carousel template of like 5 pages. Based on this article, break this up to me into 5 distinct topic lines, arrange them, put them into the template, put it into Airtable. Short form post, pretty simple. Long form post, again, same thing. Here is a web page. This is who I am. This is my context. This is how I work. Generate a long form post for me. And so it will do this at random, and then it will come into our social output in the Solopreneur base. So we get responses like this. So I can have here, for example, okay, here is some copy, okay, short form copy. Here is a carousel copy to support a carousel. Here is the supporting doc. So here is a carousel template, okay. It all comes in. Then as part of my daily routine, I just need to come in, make edits, because again, when you're just getting started, when you've been on an agency and not a SaaS, you can't rely on having this established brand book that you're going to be putting in, so you can feed that into a custom assistant and get perfect copy each time. When you're just getting started, it's really important for you to put your own personal spin on it. So we take this basically this draft copy, if you will, from AI, come into it in the morning, spend 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, whatever, just making a quick change, download the carousel, put it onto LinkedIn. So that means every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday, I just come into the social output, I go through my list, I look to see what I want to post, take it, post it, great. I've now got a system which puts me high quality, relevant, trending LinkedIn content on a regular basis, okay? So this is a great beginning for the first automation you start running as a solopreneur, very useful to have. Now, the next one is basically a similar tool. What this will do instead of collecting information from LinkedIn advice, it'll collect it from Reddit. So if I come into a growth hacking thing on Reddit, for example, right, every day people are posting on my particular niche here about topics related to growth hacking with actual questions or new tools or new strategies, new ideas. I don't need to go through this every day now because I have this automation. What it will do is it will search the records in my Airtable regarding links to Reddit that are to do with my Reddit topic hacker. It will grab an RSS feed of all of these items. So it collects, in this case, 5 bundles of new topics that people have posted. Go through an iterator just to split them all out. So then now I have one here to do with community building, native to websites. I have one, looks like a new product, Growtopia hacks menu, whatever. Then it goes for a text aggregator. So what I want to do is I want to get all of this information into just one long piece, and then I can put it into my my ChatGPT. So I tell the ChatGPT, here are 5, 10, 20 topics, whatever, separated by a space. Here is the URL, here is the title, here is the description. This is what I do. My name is George. I'm a marketing automator, blah, 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 blah. This is who I want to talk to. This is the way I want to talk to them. Pick one of these topics, okay? And create me a LinkedIn post. So it's gone through this. It's given me the original link if I want to check it out. It's given me a question, a prompt to myself. So on a Wednesday or a Tuesday, I might set this to run. I'll come into my Airtable. There'll be a question for me. How do you determine the value of a new follower for a solopreneur or a newly launched SaaS company on LinkedIn? I can then either type that out manually myself to give it my own very, very personal output, but I also ask the ChatGPT to give me an example answer. So I have, when assessing the value of a new follower on LinkedIn, especially for solopreneurs, blah, 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 blah. So it just makes it very easy for me to then find a really, really deep topic where it's not so much giving me a draft as in the previous automation, but an actual question that will make me stop and think. So this will take a little bit longer, maybe 5 minutes every morning, where I'm forced to think about a brand new idea. It's asking me a question, it's giving me an example that I can just copy and paste if I want. But the idea here is that I'm coming up with ideas that people in the community that I serve are also asking. So it keeps me on track, on topic. It means on a consistent basis, I'm putting out much more interesting content, and it's much more personal to me and the people I want to talk to. The third automation we're going to be looking at here is how to become a top voice on LinkedIn. So again, we're talking one of the challenges of a solopreneur is to be a authoritative voice, a credible person in their space. And what better way to do that than to have LinkedIn top voice badge on your LinkedIn profile? It means people will pay attention. And this is a very simple one. Again, similar to the very first automation we look at, we take these Google searches for LinkedIn advice related to our niche. And then every day, what will happen is the Airtable runs, it will collect those links. We'll make a request on a HTTP module to that particular link that we've provided to collect all of the various articles that have generated. So in this case, it's found 2. Struggling to track your B2B email campaigns and aiming to excel marketing, what key skills, blah, 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 blah. We'll make another HTTP call to those links to get the question, the subtopics, what other people have wrote, the text parser just to clean it up a little bit. Then it goes into ChatGPT where we say, here is a page, here is a topic, here are the subtopics. This is my context. Again, my name is George. I'm a marketing automator. Or my name is Jeff. I am in industry and I believe in this and that and the other. Give me some answers to at least one of the questions. Okay, so it comes out here. We have the original link. We have the subtopic, creative mastery, a suggested answer. Pass the JSON. So again, subtopic becomes define goals. We get an answer. And then it gets added into our Airtable. So again, it's part of that morning routine when we check our Airtable, social inputs, social outputs. I can just come in here. I can look for the topics related to marketing and automation, just copy and paste them, go to the link, paste it in, easy peasy. I do this enough times, I will become a LinkedIn top voice and people will pay more attention to me. So what we've seen now is a collection of very, very basic marketing automations, purely focused on LinkedIn. Because again, as a solopreneur, you don't want to be spending all of your time posting original content to Reddit, to Instagram, to TikTok, to YouTube, to a newsletter. When you're starting out, you focus on one organic channel and build up as much as you can there, build up as big as order as you can, make as many learnings. And then when you've done the first 60 days or whatever, then you can start taking those learnings and building automations with the other social media networks. Now, obviously, inbound sales for a solopreneur are going to be hard to come by. Most of it is going to be outbound traffic. So for that, we start to have to look at automations regarding outbound emails. So the next one we're going to be looking at is a simple LinkedIn Google scraper. So I mentioned as a solopreneur, you might have a lack of resources. You might not be able to afford an Apollo subscription or a database subscription to somewhere else. But luckily, through Google searching for LinkedIn profiles that match our criteria, so you just make a Google search, linkedin.com/in/marketing in the United Kingdom, logistics or whatever, we'll return all of those results. So it's a very cheap way for us to start finding people. So we set up a campaign in the Airtable base where we put in our LinkedIn scraper and a link to the Google search. So for example, this is a Google search for marketing in Portugal that returns me a whole bunch of profiles. So what the automation does, it will collect those Google URLs. It will iterate them out if you have more than one campaign running. It goes into a HTTP module so that we get the HTML data of that Google search, which is basically where all of the LinkedIn profiles are stored. All right, then we run a start page updater just because we don't want to run the same page. We want to do page 1, then page 2, then page 3. And then provided that there are matches, we go for a text parser to get those LinkedIn results. So from my simple Google search, I've now got a LinkedIn profile to Alex Evans, to Kelly Berg, to Clemens Brand, to Don Wilson, right? I have LinkedIn profiles. What do I need to do now? I need to get email addresses for those people. So we're using a pretty reasonably priced tool called Find Email, which will find the emails based on their LinkedIn profile, and it also validates them. So again, we're not spending extra money on a subscription. It will just come in and it will return their email addresses. So in this case, who is Don Wilson at LinkedIn? Then it will tell me, this is the guy Don Wilson. It has not found an email though. For this person, Clemens Brand, it will tell me, okay, this is his email, this is his domain, this is his LinkedIn, this is the company, job title. All right. So on a pretty regular basis, I'm scraping these leads and all I need to pay for is the Find Email. Then we have a filter, as we see. It won't find an email every time, okay? No tool is 100% accurate. So what we do is we say if an email is found, it can continue. And it goes into an OpenAI module, which is basically just a way of saying, this is a person's name, because we see here, it gives a name. Okay, this is a brilliant example. It's not telling us this is the first name and this is the last name, which is what we want if we put them in a database. We want first name, we want last name, we want email. Let's just say Moji. That doesn't really help me. If it was something like Susan M, again, doesn't really help me. So what we do is we put it into a ChatGPT and we say, here is the name provided by Find Email, and this is their LinkedIn profile. Make an educated guess on what their first name and last name would be. All right. And again, another way this might be useful, if like me, you're based in a country like Portugal, you could be in Spain or Italy, whatever, or even United States. A lot of people have multiple middle names. They'll be like Gonzalo Ramos de Souza Jr. Ferreira Branco. And it's like, what is the first name? When does the first name end? When does the last name begin? So that's what the GPT handles for us. And it'll just output the results as a JSON. So we go through the JSON parser, and then we add the leads to the campaign. So what we do here, we match the lead email, the website, the last name, the first name, the campaign ID from from our Airtable, and then finally updates the CRM. So at the end of the process, in the contacts here, we'll see the names get added along with the email address. We have the status as being in campaign, and from the campaign as well on a top level, these ones related to LinkedIn Scraper, we see here, all right, I'm on page 20, so the campaign is still in progress. This is the instantly ID I'm sending them to, and these are the contacts it's managed to find for these people. So very, very, very easy, cheap way to find contacts, just paying for one tool. You put them on an instantly campaign, and now you're reaching out to people, your ICP, to get in contact. But some people might say, all right, LinkedIn scraping is fine, but I want to be more precise in what I look for. I want to use Apollo. So we have this as an option as well, an Apollo scraper. So what this will do is it will take a URL. You go into Apollo.io and you make a search. You grab the URL from the top of the page and you put it into the Airtable. What will happen next is the automation will automatically convert that URL into an API call, so you can start contacting Apollo directly. So we see here, I've put in a URL like www.apollo.io and then all of the various things that follow it once I've made my search, and it's turned it into this API call. It's looking for person titles, marketing manager, person locations, United States. It goes to Apollo to make that search. So now we see here in my people, I have 100 people who match this particular parameter. I've got the first name, I've got the last name, the LinkedIn URL, the title, the photo, information about their organization, information about their seniority, the functions they're working in, all of the stuff that Apollo gives us. At this point, what happens is we update the Airtable record again, just because we need to increase just as with the Google search, we need to increase the start page. We see, what does that mean? We see here, I'm looking at page 1 of these results, and there are in total 2,591. So each time it runs, we increase it by 1 until we get to 2,591, then it will automatically stop. So there's no need for you to jump in and out of campaigns and manage them. Campaigns run completely autonomously. When it's finished scraping everybody, it instantly ends. It won't run again. For as long as it is running, it will iterate all of the results. It will put them into find email to try and find their email address. Okay, so for example here, it's found, all right, we found someone called Brianna Moha. This is her website. Do we have an email address? Yes, we do. It's found it. We have another filter again, provided it's find an email address. Add them to the instantly campaign. So again, we add in their lead email, their website, first name, last name, the campaign ID, and then we create the record in Airtable. So once again, in the contacts for this particular Apollo search, we can see here, example marketing USA, I've run it twice, I'm on page 2 now, and it has found these people, and if I click on one of them, all right, this is the person, so their company website, the email, the LinkedIn, what campaign they're attached to. So based like this, I'm able to reach out to, well, with LinkedIn, I'm able to get 10 people each time I run it. So I can run that for free for as long as I want. With Apollo, you can make 2,000 calls a day with the basic plan. For every call, you get 100 contacts. So that is potentially 200,000 people that you can scrape every day. But bear in mind, 200,000 people would require 200,000 email credits from Find Email. So it would be very, very expensive very quickly. So for a solopreneur, you can start running this on a more reasonable level. Run this 10 times a day. That means you're getting at least 1,000 people every day. You can go much higher if you want, but just keep in mind the plan you have with Instantly and Find Email to enrich these people and actually contact them. But the end result is we're reaching out to a lot of people. We've reduced our manual input quite a bit, but we need another automation to actually handle all of those replies, because otherwise we're going to be spending all of our day responding to emails. So the next most important automation to run is an AI reply handler. So luckily with Instantly, we can have a webhook which will respond to new replies. We also have an API endpoint which gets the full message info. So imagine a reply comes in, it says George Woodworth has replied to this campaign. I can grab the ID of that particular email thread and get all of the emails that preceded it. Then I can search in my Airtable. I can say, all right, George has replied. Which one of these people is George? All right, it will look through it and it will say, oh, it's this person, or this person more accurately, this is George. So then I know, all right, which campaign they're attached to, who they are, but there's also a chance that someone might email you who is not in your cold CRM. So we have a little router for that to say someone brand new who's reached out to you, they've seen that amazing content you're generating on LinkedIn. Here is their email address, respond to them, don't forget about them. But provided they are in the CRM, We send them to a classifier just to say, does this person want to unsubscribe? Are they not interested? Are they somewhat interested? Or do they want a meeting? Now, if they're unsubscribing, they respond to say, I want to unsubscribe. We'll update their status in the CRM. So here in the status, instead of saying in campaign, it will now say unsubscribed. So we know, just looking at our CRM, how effective our campaigns are being. And we also update them instantly too, so we're no longer emailing them. Same process for not interested. Now, provided they want a meeting or they're somewhat interested, what will happen is we'll update their lead status to say they want a meeting, or they're not interested, they want to learn more in both our CRM and instantly CRM. And then we use the power of an assistant to basically construct an email. We'll provide it with our value proposition doc, which in my school I explain to you how to create and how to add it to your assistant. But basically what we're saying is, here is a document that has all of my services, all of my products, information about me, what I do, why I do it, how I do it. And we're saying, based on that document, respond to this email which we just received. So it will create that email, it will convert it into a JSON, and then it will send the message out as a reply instantly through Instantly. So we reply, we put in the subject, we put in the body of the email, the person who sent us one. And that means that if you're emailing, let's just say 10,000 people a day and you're getting 2,000 replies a day, you're not replying to 2,000 people, your AI is handling it for you. And they're always basically saying if they want a meeting, push them to that calendar link you have. And if they want more info, enrich it with your value proposition doc, but also push them towards that meeting. And then in the Solopreneur base, this isn't really an automation, just a little bit extra. What we'll do is we create a view for people who are somewhat interested or want a meeting. And we changed the last status update to be more than 1 week ago. So when people start appearing here as part of your daily routine, you check someone interested or wants a meeting. As soon as a name pops up here, what that tells you is this person replied to your campaign and you've replied back, but they haven't yet booked a meeting with you. So again, we could ask an automation to do this, but I would suggest for solopreneurs, because every lead is super important, you don't want to automate all of it. Some people deserve to be reached out to with a personal touch. So what we're doing is we're saying the initial contact, totally automated. The follow-up contact, totally automated. And then after that, if we need to give them another push to book a meeting, it's got to be personal. We've got to figure out why it is they haven't booked that meeting yet, even though they said they want one. So you just come into this view, click on the email, click on the name, shoot them an email, easy peasy. You've reduced your sales commitment to maybe just 5-10 minutes a day. Now, some of these people won't reply to emails. Instead, what they will do is they will just check out your website. So we have another automation here, which uses the Instantly website visitor API, which is very hard to find. They don't have it documented. So again, if you want this, just download this from my school. What this will do is it will check every time someone checks your website. What it will do is it will see who is that person. And if the person is not found, it will try and find similar people from Apollo. So it will say basically someone from Microsoft was looking at the website. We don't know who it was. In that case, you say, well, I talk to marketing and salespeople. So let's find anybody who is in the person department, master marketing or master sales, who is an owner, a founder, or a C-suite. Find that person, get their email address. Just like in the previous automation, construct an email to say, hey, someone from your company was checking out my website. I don't know who it was, but I would imagine it is because, and then your value proposition doc will fill it out. So based on their industry, it will say, oh, based on you being telecommunications, I'm guessing it's because I did a lot of work for a telecommunication fraud company. I don't know who to talk to, but I need to talk to someone. Who should it be? Can I help? Blah, 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 blah. And then it constructs the email and sends it for you. So again, this is no touch. Basically, to resume, you're sending out a whole bunch of emails. If someone replies, it automatically happens. If someone doesn't reply, but they check out your website, either we email them directly or we email someone else at the company to generate that conversation. And so just again, like that, you really don't have to waste your time doing repetitive sales tools. You're making sales emails at the right time to the right people with triggered intent information, but it's all happening automatically. So that covers the sales ones. So after you've handled all of the sales tasks, the next automation is one which is going to manage your opportunities, the people who book meetings with you. So what this automation does, it will look at your TidyCal appointments. And again, this is designed for solopreneurs. Obviously, agencies and SaaS companies will be using something like Google Workspace or Calendly. But these are subscriptions, which means it's a cost you have to pay every month. If you're just getting started, something like TidyCal, $49, I think actually, no, it's not, $29 for a one-off fee and you've got it for life. What this will do is it will see every time a new booking is made, it will find the person in the Airtable. So in your central base, it will try and connect their email address. Don't exist, so they're not in an email outbound campaign, someone we've enriched or found. It's someone who's seen your amazing LinkedIn content and they've sent you, they've got in contact, they booked a meeting that way. What it will do is it will create a call to Apollo, so it will add that person to your contacts tab in Airtable, so you've got a track record of them. It then creates a meeting doc. So every time you talk to this person, there will be a Google link. You can just click on it in the CRM and it will open it up and it'll have all of the notes that you're making for that particular person, which is super important, and we'll check that out in the final automation. But the point is, it will create that Google Doc for the centralized links. It will create a person in the Airtable and create an opportunity. So as part of your daily routine, you're just looking for opportunities. You'll see here, okay, George Woodworth, he's not closed yet. What's going on? What do I think I need to do today to make that happen? And that would happen for all inbound. Now, if it's someone who's been on some instantly campaigns, so they do exist, it will check, are they enriched? So basically, the way to think about this is, if it's someone you found from a Google LinkedIn search, you've only given that information of the LinkedIn URL and their email address. So if they've not been enriched, we make a call to Apollo just to get that extra information. So, their job department, their seniority, all of this. Create that meeting doc link, update the person, create opportunity. And if they are enriched, so it's someone we found through an Apollo campaign, it'll either create an opportunity and create the meeting doc link, update their record, or if it's someone who is already an opportunity, so again, if it is someone who is in this tab already, it will just send you a Slack message to say, hey, George from an open opportunity has booked another meeting. Good news. It's just a nice little way of saying, here is good news for the day. Someone who you're talking to has booked another meeting with you. Here is their meeting link for the Google Doc if you just want to refresh and see what it's all about. So what this will do is it will save you a lot of time just managing where you store information about people who are interested enough to talk to you. Now, the next part of this is to figure out what is happening on those calls. What can we do with that information? So this 9th automation basically uses Otter.ai. So again, for solopreneurs, I'm taking into account the cost of the tooling. Otter.ai is free for up to 300 minutes a month, which should be enough for most solopreneurs when they're starting from day zero. And what this tool does is it puts a little robot into your meetings just to make a transcription of what is being discussed. Once we have that information, there's 3 things we can do with it. 1, we can get the action items. So when Otter.ai finishes transcription, it has its own AI, which will tell you, based on this call, there are 3 things you need to do. Follow up with John, send this email, do that. So we get those action items, and then we send them to Google Tasks, just so that we have again, you can replace this with any task manager you have, but just a way of making sure that after every meeting, instead of having to manually go through your notes, have a think, try and remember what do I need to do, you just get an automatic message sent somewhere which will say task 1, task 2, task 3 related to this meeting with this client. So already this on its own saves a bunch of time. But we need more than just the tasks. We also want to put a summary of the conversation in our meeting notes. So while we're talking to someone and we have that Google Doc and we're making our manual notes, at the bottom I want to enrich it with further information directly from the transcript in case I wasn't able to type something out. So what happens is it grabs the full transcript, it matches the title and the start date of the meeting with your Google Calendar to see who it was you were having a meeting with, and then it finds that person in the Airtable. So what it will do is it will find this particular Google Doc link and say, all right, here is where I've been having all of the meeting links for this person. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to grab that document and I'm going to grab all of the individual summaries that the AI from Otter has generated, and I'm going to add them to the bottom. So when I open up my Google Doc link at the top, I have all of my manual notes, and at the bottom, every call, I have a timestamped summary of call, summary of call, summary of call. Now, in addition to the summaries, the third thing that it also does is it gives you a full transcript. Now, I don't add the full transcript to my meeting notes because who needs to read an entire conversation a second time? The summary is perfect for that. But with the transcript, what I can do is I can break it up and I can feed it into my ChatGPT and I can say, hey, ChatGPT, is there anything in this transcript which reveals a new tool to me, which reveals a pain point of the person I'm talking to, which reveals a solution, which something that one of the speakers has never considered before, or someone's praised me, said, George is amazing, so I've got a nice testimonial, or anything else noteworthy. I ask the ChatGPT, go through the transcript, find anything that I think is interesting and return it back to me, and then add it to my Airtable as a social output. So again, after a meeting's happened, I can come in And I can see here, based on a meeting with this guy, for example, okay, great. Here's a post I can make about synthesia, or here's a post I can make about AirShare or something like that. So it gives me just extra pieces of content again. So in the mornings when I come in, what am I going to post today? I've got, in addition to the social media posts I get from LinkedIn Advice and Reddit, I've got social media ideas from people I'm talking to, which is brilliant because this is my ICP. They're telling me what is wrong, what is right, what their fears, what their dreams are. This is the kind of stuff which will resonate with my audience. So when I reach this stage, this is the best social media content I can generate, which makes this arguably the most important of all of the automations that a solopreneur needs to use. Finally, we have this huge document with all of the meeting notes and all of the summaries. What can we do with that? Well, we can generate proposals with it. So while we're talking to someone in the opportunities, we have this meeting note. We also have a button. Once I've reached the stage of being like, okay, we've talked enough, I want to send this person a proposal. I want to send them, hey, I want to formalize it. Let's do business. Give me some money. So with a URL, with a button connected to a webhook, I can just click this and the final automation will run. This webhook will look for the URL that is sent when I click on that button in the Airtable, and it will grab a link to the Google Doc. So then what we do is we download that Google Doc and we grab the file. So we download it as a Word document. We upload it to ChatGPT. We add it to the vector store of the assistant, which has our value proposition doc. And then we message that assistant. We say, all right, look at that value proposition doc we have with our pricing, our services, our case studies, what we do, how we do, why we do it. Based on that value proposition doc, look through all of my manual notes and the AI transcripted summaries of my conversations with this client and generate me a proposal. Once the proposal is generated, then we just have a simple housekeeping module just to delete that file. We don't need to populate our vector store with all of the meeting notes of anyone we've ever talked to. It's not necessary. We just delete it afterwards. And then basically we create a new proposal. So the proposal gets created, gets added to Airtable, a Slack message gets sent. So as soon as I click the button, 10 seconds later, I get a Slack message to say, hey, proposal for this client is ready. I can open up the Google Doc, make any changes I think I need to, and then email it straight off to the client, which again, really reduces the amount of time that you need to manually create something, but it also increases the likelihood someone will accept it. Because if you're on a call with someone, they say, great, send a proposal after the call. You hang up, click the button, it generates. 5 minutes later, you're able to send this person a really detailed proposal based not just on your value proposition doc, but everything you ever talked about in the call. So if you've mentioned, for example, a special discount or a special price or the scope of the work, we'll just automatically all fill it out. And the big advantage, again, for solopreneurs doing it this way, because a lot of people, what they do is they'll have like a job form or something that people fill out and it attaches that to a template. That's great for agencies because you have an established way of doing things. If you're a solopreneur just starting out, you are flexible. You might say to yourself, I will do service X in Y days. But if a client comes to you and offers you enough money, you're going to say, all right, I'll do basically whatever you want to do. Maybe a special pricing and some extra stuff thrown in. So having a template just won't work. This means a solopreneur can stay flexible. They're not having to constrain themselves to a template. It generates an open-ended proposal. You jump in before you send it to make any edits that you think are judicial. Email it out. All done. So, in short, with these 10 automations, what you're doing is you're maintaining your flexibility. You've completely minimized your monthly spend on tools. And you've minimized your manual actions to, at least, as I say, a maximum of 10 minutes a day. It's not totally automated. Totally automated systems really only work for really established companies who know what they're doing. They have a framework, they have a methodology. It just doesn't apply to solopreneurs. You can do it totally automated, but the results won't be good because you really need to establish your own voice. So the trade-off, 10 minutes a day working, but the benefit is a lot more clients coming to you, both inbound and outbound, and you've established your credibility. So again, if this all interests you, it's all in my school. I have the JSONs available there, plus exclusive walkthrough videos and explanations on how to modify things to your needs. And you get access to my community as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that jazz. Thank you. Goodbye.